Supersets, a way to build size and strength. Supersets are a training method where two exercises are performed consecutively with minimal rest. While they're an effective time-saving strategy for building muscle and strength, there are important trade-offs to consider. When it comes to strength training, you can still make gains with supersets. However, I'd suggest not supersetting with your main lifts. Here's why. When performing a lift for strength, especially a very taxing one, you need longer recovery time, 3 to 5 minutes on average, to return to that 100% capacity. If you go straight from one extremely taxing lift to another, you likely won't maintain the same intensity or velocity for the second lift. This is especially true if you're supersetting with exercises that use the same muscle group. For example, going from bench press to tricep extensions. Since tricep extensions are the secondary mover in the bench press, if they're already fatigued, the tricep extension performance is going to be compromised. So to understand this better, let's break down the basic movement patterns we use in lifting. When we think about it, we essentially have 4 patterns that can be altered to produce force along different vectors. We have the push movement, the pull, the hinge, and then the squat. Push would be any movement where you're pushing weight away from your body. The pull is pulling the weight to you. The hinge movements, including the RDLs and good mornings, and then squats are, well, squats. While there are obviously more complex movements and nuances to those 4 patterns, they provide us with a solid foundation. For strength training, we can categorize effective supersets into 2 groups: primary strength movements and secondary accessory movements. Your primary strength movements are heavy compound lifts that form the foundation of strength training. These should be done with traditional straight sets and full recovery of 2+ minutes. The systematic fatigue from pairing 2 high-intensity movements, like heavy bench press with heavy squats, can significantly impact performance and potentially reduce strength gains, especially for experienced lifters who generate higher levels of force and central nervous system fatigue. Secondary and accessory movements are more suitable for supersets and really where they shine, because you can pair them using antagonist muscle groups, biceps and triceps, different movement patterns, upper and lower body, or varying intensity levels like a heavy set followed by lighter accessory work. The effectiveness of supersets for strength development varies significantly based on your training experience. Beginners can typically handle more varied exercise pairings and are more likely to experience less performance decrease from supersets, since neural adaptations are still the primary driver of gains for beginners. The time and efficiency benefit often outweighs any slight reduction in force production. And this is particularly important since time is one of the biggest barriers when starting a training routine. On the flip side, experienced lifters need more specific stimulus for adaptation and require more refined conditions for strength gains. So they have to be more strategic with superset implementation. For implementing supersets for strength, consider several factors. First, keep your main compound movements as the traditional sets. Account for total systematic fatigue, and allow adequate rest between superset pairs. Monitor your performance throughout the work and the work week, and if you notice you're exhausted by the week's end, you may need to reevaluate your superset setup and consider if your volume and intensity have been maintained at a high level for too long. If that's the case, a deload week might be necessary. So what about muscle growth? Well, this is where supersets really shine. To put it simply, supersets are highly effective for muscle growth when implemented correctly. The main benefit comes from their ability to increase total training volume, which is a key driver for muscle growth, while significantly reducing workout duration. By performing exercises back-to-back with minimal rest, you can maintain the necessary training intensity while completing more total work in less time. Your exercise selection and pairing strategy play crucial roles when it comes to supersets. You can pair exercises for the same muscle group, like bench followed by incline dumbbell bench press, opposing muscle groups like chest press followed by rows, or non-competing muscle groups like upper body with lower body. Each approach has its benefits. Same muscle group pairing, when you pair exercises for the same muscle group, you're essentially extending the amount of work that muscle group performs. Think of it like hitting the muscle from multiple angles before it gets a chance to fully recover. The benefit here is maximizing local muscle fatigue. You're really focusing on one area and accumulating a lot of work there. However, there's a clear trade-off. Your performance on that second exercise will likely decrease since the muscle's already fatigued. Your incline press numbers won't be as high as they would if you were fresh. Now looking at opposing muscle groups, if you're pairing a movement like chest press with rows, it's often considered kind of the sweet spot for supersets. When you're pushing in one exercise, the opposing pulling muscle group gets a brief rest and vice versa. This natural alternation often helps maintain better performance across both exercises. This approach tends to be more manageable than the same muscle group supersets because while one muscle group works, the other can partially recover. It's also typically more practical in terms of gym equipment setup, and you can often stay in one area rather than having to run around the gym. We then have the non-competing muscle groups. When you pair completely different muscle groups like upper body and lower body, you're maximizing the recovery of each specific muscle group. Your chest is completely resting while you do leg extensions, for example. This means you can maintain higher performance on each exercise. However, with this, there's kind of a catch. This type of superset can increase or create more overall systematic fatigue. Think about it. You're now completely demanding energy from completely two different parts of the body with minimal rest. While each muscle group is fresh, your overall energy systems are going to be taxed more heavily. The key to choosing which type to use often is going to depend on your goals. If you really want to work on fatiguing a specific muscle group and focusing on that area for your training sessions, same group supersets might be your best bet. Looking for a balanced, efficient workout, opposing muscle groups often work well. And if you need to maintain performance on each exercise, non-competing groups could be the answer. Just remember that regardless of which type you choose, the fundamental principles remains. Don't push to failure too early, or you'll compromise the total amount of quality work you can do in your entire workout. Supersets are a great strategy to incorporate into our workouts, especially if we're rushed for time. Supersets can be extremely effective for hypertrophy and that muscle growth, while when it comes to strength, there can be some trade-offs. If you're a beginner, those supersets are going to be great for being able to get in and out of the gym. Most of our benefits when we're beginning strength training are going to come from our ability to more efficiently move the weight and the neurological change. However, as we continue to train over time, we get more efficient, and that's when we need to make more small tweaks to our training. And when we start to see the overlap, where these supersets start to become less efficient and less effective for strength gains and more effective for muscle growth. When it comes down to training, we have tools. We have different tools. We have different methods that we can use. None of them are better than others at everything, but they can be utilized specifically to get specific results. If you have any questions about how to implement supersets into your workout routine, just shoot me a message and hope you have a great day.